Good morning and welcome to my channel. If you haven't met me before, my name is Jerry. So today I just wanted us to have a look at lesson 2, which it covers chapter 1. So in today's section, the topic is that sin can't be redefined. So sin cannot be redefined. And obviously from the book, if you have your book, it is the chapter 1 of the book, and you will find Genesis chapter 2, 15 to 23 as our base. Now, this talks about how when God had finished creating man, had given man the rights to govern the earth, whatever man wanted to establish, whatever man wanted to do, to set the laws, the customs, the cultures, everything man did was absolutely right because God had given man the right to be the God um, governing or ruling the earth. And therefore, God was obliged to accept whatever man did to be right. However, there was an exception. And the exception was this, that man cannot have the right to self-determine or interpret or define what sin and good were. This was because God Himself had only used this right to determine between good and evil once during His creation. And therefore, it meant that God, being God, had no right to change good and evil. He couldn't wake up today if actually he sleeps, but we know he doesn't. So, but the point is that he couldn't just at any point decide that I know that this was determined as evil yesterday or last week, but today I think because of blah, 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 I want to redefine it. No, God established it and put that rule in his creation. And that is why every human on earth, by nature, knows what good and evil is. Of course, we can decide to choose, decide to interpret them as they are, or we can decide to interpret them to suit us. But that doesn't change the fact that they have been defined by God and have been embedded in universal law and therefore are constant or fixed. Well, obviously, what this meant was that this agreement was acceptable in God's eyes and, of course, in human eyes. However, the devil came in and deceived man and told man that, look, whilst you have every right to do whatever you wanted, that's what denies you equality with God is actually the right to self-determine or self-interpret what should be called good or what should be called evil. Now, the reason for this is that if this were to change, if man were to have this right, then it would also define or change what was called hell and heaven. It means that today you and I can do whatever we want and it will stand as good if we determine that it is good. And there won't be a morality law, there won't be good, there won't be evil, because everything will be based on you and I, the way we see things. And obviously, who can say that you and I will see things the same way? Nobody. It means that whatever suits me, and it is good. Whatever doesn't suit me, no matter how good it looks, I can say it's evil and it stands. And you can come in and change it. And so, sin, therefore, goes beyond human language and culture. So it means that as humans, no matter what we like to do, no matter what we consider, we can wake up today and decide to claim that we have removed the word sin or evil from our human language. It doesn't actually change the fact that still remains sin, or it doesn't change the fact that sin will continue to exist. And so this is why in our words today, you would agree with me that we have tried to self-interpret and redefine sin, and we have actually weighted sin far less than things such as bullying and phobia, that if somebody is accused of bullying today, I think everyone would frown at that person. In fact, it would almost seem as the person has committed a very big crime. And yet, if someone has done something and is called, oh, sin from the Christian perspective, everyone would probably be upset with the person that claims that an act is sin. Why? Because we have forgotten that bullying and phobia and things like that are derivatives of sin. And therefore, sin cannot change from what it is. And does this mean that sin is obsolete then? No, sin isn't obsolete in spite of what we think. Sin remains sin and must have consequences. And in a nutshell, in chapter one of our book, man's perception and the war to repeal and reenact what good or what bad is cannot change God's definition and cannot change the consequences that these things carry. And therefore, as you read this book, just bear in mind that as part of our frameworks, which are found in chapters 1 and 2, that these are the basis on which this book is actually written. And obviously, the book is all about calling people to order. And therefore, I would leave it with this, and hopefully, this would make sense when you continue to read it in your own time. Thank you very much, and God bless.